I'm John Batchelor. Malcolm Hoenlein, Conference of Presidents, major American Jewish organizations. Nigeria, 175 million people, most populous state in sub-Saharan Africa. Also the richest, with the light sweet crude that Europe and American economies depend upon. Rift in thrice. We're looking at a Christian, an animist, and an Islamic tradition. The north and south of the country are in open dispute all the time. Goodluck Jonathan is the president. The relations between Nigeria and the United States are okay. We have a very large embassy there. However, in these last weeks, it's been a puzzle to the American people because of the abduction of hundreds of young women, schoolgirls, many Christians, many Islamic, by an organization, a shadowy outfit called Boko Haram that looks like a nationalist rebellion. It's in the north. It has been operating for some time, years now. Mass murder, bombings, IEDs, VBIEDs, all the usual tools of a nationalist rebellion. However, it has strong links to jihad, especially in sub-Saharan Africa and the central part of the country. Therefore, it's a pleasure to puzzle about this because it's in the news and we can talk about it. John Price, a former ambassador to Mauritius and also in the Bush administration, and he joins us now to comment on this. And Mr. Ambassador John, there's a report in the Daily Beast, Josh Rogan, that Mrs. Clinton's State Department in these last years refused to brand Boko Haram as a terrorist organization. Can you help the audience understand why that is so and how it helps the United States not to call a terrorist organization of abductors terrorists? Good evening to you.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad to be on your show. It started really in 2009 when the Boko Haram started to really become very, very brutal after their leader, Mohammed Joseph, was killed by the police, and a new leader came along, Abu Bakr Shaku. And we should have listed them and designated them immediately as a terrorist organization, but the Obama administration in 2009 refused to do it, and of course Hillary Clinton, as Secretary of State, followed the administration's feelings on that regard. And so they've never designated this group as a terrorist organization, which should have been from the very beginning. And it's because this administration does not believe there's a global war on terror anymore.
So who's behind Boko Haram? They have obviously resources, training.
Yes.
Which countries are aiding them?
Well, candidly, it started back in 2002 when the Imam Joseph wanted to start a school for young underprivileged boys from poor areas throughout the country, and they brought him in, and he had a madrasa and a mosque that he built with the funding from Osama bin Laden originally, and that continued on with the Wahhabists out of Saudi Arabia after that, and even money coming in from Qatar, and which we found in the problems we had next door in Mali, where they were supplying funding for the AQIM, the Al-Qaeda and Islamic Maghreb. So it goes back quite a ways, and they're well-funded, and it continues that way.
What about Iran's role in funding?
Well, I think that Iran's entrance into the picture would be more recent, but the ones I've been tracking are the ones out of Saudi Arabia and some of the charities there that are well funded and supply the money.
And the Europeans, unlike what France did in Mali, we've seen no reaction as Christians are being massacred in many of these attacks.
Well, it's surprising to me that it took 300 girls, plus or minus there, because several had been kidnapped before, but it's about that number, for the Europeans to talk about it. The only European country that has helped to any degree has been France, and they went in to Mali and helped when Mali was being taken over by the Islamists, and now they're in the Central African Republic, and there are other places, and in Chad, and the French are trying to do what they can in their former colonies. So, but nobody else has, for years, paid any attention to the growing problem with the Islamists.
John, is Nigeria unstable?
Very unstable in certain areas. in the Borno state in the north, but they've also attacked in Abuja at a bus stop a few weeks ago and killed a number of people, and they've also attacked in Lagos. I was there in 2007, and there were attacks in the north. I was there for the election monitoring. I was one of the team members, and you could see it brewing then, and nobody did anything about it. And candidly, it's not just Nigeria. The United States foreign policy is not a consistent policy unless there's economic interests involved, and it should have been here mainly because it's one of the great oil supplying sources for the United States that we should have been in there helping years ago, but we haven't.
I want to press this. If good luck, Jonathan, he may very well run for re-election next year. That's a controversy. The question of stability, though, is that a reason to avoid the obvious about Boko Haram, to not name it as a terrorist state? Were we protecting the governance by not interfering?
Well, we're doing it again, and my belief is that is part of it, but I don't think that we want to designate any organizations as terrorist organizations as such that are radical Islamist organizations, because that would admit that after Osama bin Laden was killed, that Al-Qaeda and other affiliates are still very active. Somehow we've got the blinders on, and we will not admit it for political reasons. We didn't do that in the 2012 re-election, and we're not going to do it now for the 2016 election, where Hillary Clinton will be running. It is putting the blinders on.
I want to press this because I've reported, Malcolm, it has been reported by Thomas Joslin of the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies, that bin Laden, before his death, was in communication in some fashion with Boko Haram, that there was seed money flowing from Al-Qaeda and its many affiliates in Saudi Arabia, the radicals there.
Nascent days,
so that we have a disconnect here, because the declaration that a core Al-Qaeda has been defeated cannot be easily explained when you look at Boko Haram's robustness.
I think that's what the ambassador is pointing out. Well, one of the points you make is about the fact that we have a fleet of drones sitting in Niger, and that people say, well, what is it we can do? We have to send in forces. Is that a really a viable tool to try and track down the girls and to monitor what the Boko Haram people are doing?
Mr. Ambassador, we have 30 seconds. Go ahead.
Yes, the answer is we should have been using those drones, and there's a large fleet. I think they could locate these girls, but you have to be careful going into the camps because they'll kill the girls. So freeing them is not easy.
John Price, former ambassador for the Bush administration, Malcolm Hoenlein, Conference of Presidents, major American Jewish organizations. I want to underline this. Without the light, sweet crude of Nigeria, the economy of Europe, and therefore connected to the economy of the United States, is deeply troubled. This is not a simple problem. I'm John Batchelor.